Well, hey everyone, it's Gene, Iggy6 Gunsmithing. It's been a little bit, but I finally came up with some information. I'm sure you've seen it on YouTube or other places on the internet by now. But if you're like me, I don't believe everything I see or read or hear on the internet, so I made a phone call to the ATF, and it is in fact true. It's on binary triggers. So if you don't know what binary triggers are, stay tuned. We'll be back in about 16 seconds. Well, hey everyone, welcome back. So we're talking about binary triggers. Most of you probably know what that is, some of you don't. But if you don't, here's in a nutshell, and some of the legalities in a nutshell. A binary trigger is a trigger that will fire a round on the pull of the trigger, and then it will also fire a second round on the release of the trigger, which differs from a standard semi-automatic trigger. On a standard semi-automatic trigger, you pull the trigger, the hammer is released, hits the firing pin, and one round is fired. You release the trigger, and nothing happens until you pull the trigger again. You have to pull that trigger a second time to let one round discharge. Binary trigger, you don't have to do that. When you release the trigger after firing the first round, it resets and releases the hammer again and fires a second round. Now, this is not a machine gun. A machine gun is defined as continuous fire with one pull of the trigger. So the difference is the amount of times that trigger's in motion. With the binary trigger, it takes two pulls to continually firing rounds. A pull backwards and then a release and reset. On an automatic, you only pull once, and as long as you hold the trigger down, it will continue to fire. So that's why the binary triggers are not covered under the National Firearms Act and are not considered machine guns. Of course, you know bump stocks now aren't either. So federally, binary triggers are okay. Now, there are some states that have restrictions or even outright bans on binary triggers. After this video, I will post the map of what states allow it and what states don't. So before you go out there and purchase or own a binary trigger, make sure you check your local and state laws to make sure that you're allowed to have one, because it's a big fine and jail time if you get caught with one. But federally, they are okay. And if you're like me, I don't believe everything I read and hear on the internet, so I made a phone call to my local ATF office, and they did confirm it, that legally, federally, they're okay. But state or local wide, you need to check. Hey, remember, here at Iggy6 Gunsmithing, we'll always have your back. That's a promise. And don't ever forget, be safe out there.